Welcome back CSE 3200 Yukon Stores. We're in Chapter 20, Video 2. In the first video, we just set up some basic code to get going on Photo Gallery. Most of that was review from previous chapters. In this video, we are going to get started on Objective 1 using the Retrofit library to make web requests to REST APIs. API is an acronym we've been using throughout class, throughout this video series. It just stands for Application Interface. REST is also an acronym. It stands for Representational State Transfer. It is basically just a guideline that has a handful of principles, 6 I believe, that if we adhere to, then we would call our API a REST API or a RESTful API. And we are going to make our REST API using the Retrofit library. It's going to require a few more changes to the Gradle. The top 2 implementation lines that you see, they'll be new. The bottom 2, we can cut and paste them from a previous application, actually from our criminal intent application. We did not use that in GeoQuiz. Retrofit is pretty much the go-to way to communicate with HTTP API and Android. It's an open source library created and maintained by a company called Square. You could see com.squareup.retrofit in that implementation. It's highly configurable and extendable, and it allows you to easily and safely communicate with a remote web server. It is organized into components for specific purposes that we can swap in and out as needed. Retrofit is meant to define contracts for the many types of network requests, such as GET or POST. Similar to using a room database library, we're going to write an interface with annotated instance methods, and Retrofit will create the implementation from there. Retrofit's implementation uses OK HTTP. You can see that in the second line for implementation. It is another library created by Square. We'll add the dependencies for this and for coroutines. As you might expect, interacting with a web server is going to require coroutines because it often will take a long time to get the request back. A lot of things can go wrong, delays with the internet, very, very common. So it's needed that we do have this implementation in coroutines. Retrofit is absolutely adapted for that purpose. So we are going to go into our program, and we are going to right-click on .com, and we're going to create a new package as we did with the database and criminal intent. Inside of that package, which we're going to call API, we will create an interface called Flickr API. This is how it's going to start out. It's not how it's going to end. These last 2 lines are absolutely going to change, but you can see our annotated code at get with a / in double quotes. All this is going to be good for is making sure that we can append whatever we ask for on the website. That's what the / is for. So the .ket will get this stuff, and that / says, properly append it to the website address. Let's see. Before implementing the Flickr REST API, we're going to have to make our Retrofit interface and fetch and log the contents of the web page URL. That's just to test that things are going right. And we're going to do this with Flickr's homepage. Okay, so I'll get back to this in a second. I just have one more slide I want to talk about before getting into the code. So we're going to add the Retrofit API interface to the new package. Retrofit, by the way, is just a standard Kotlin interface. So these, the @get, that's just an HTML verb, and Retrofit just uses those very same verbs on this side. Since they match, one just mimics the function of the other. That's what's built into Retrofit. All right, so there's a little bit more to talk about on this slide. Well, it looks like a lot, but some of it's already been talked about. So the fact that we are going to use our coroutines, we need our code to be asynchronous. Let's see. So Talked about this a little bit. Each function in the interface is going to map to a specific HTTP request, such as, take a look at some examples here. At get is the one that we have. Delete, pretty obvious. Head is just going to get, some of the website instead of like everything. So if we have a lot to look through, we might try at head. So we could just take a look at the beginning of what we're fetching. And yep, the /, okay, it's the relative path, and that is a path that is a string representation of the relative URL. And that just basically means where I am going to find something within the system, such as if we start with the /, it would be like at this level. If we don't have that / to start at, it's like exactly on this level. And if it's like ... then it's like a level up. Let's see. So our response is going to be parsed into a string, and that's specified in the output function. I think we see it here. No, we don't. Oh, yes, we do. In suspend fun fetch contents, we see that the output is a string. With all of these verb functions, we're required to have an output type. Let's see. There was one more thing I thought I wanted to talk about on this page. It was base URL. Okay, yeah, I see it. So a path string representing the relative URL from the base URL. So the base URL is like UConn's. I looked it up. It was exactly what I expected, uconn.edu. So uconn.edu will append the / to the end of that, and that allows us to fetch more contents, go pages deeper into that site. All right, let's get into this code. So first I'm going to go into criminal intent, and I'm going to find my 2 coroutine implementation lines right here. I will bring those over to my photo gallery and to the Gradle. And then I'm going to have to start typing in my other implementations. This is going to be com.squareup. This will download, so there's no autocomplete here. .retrofit2 :retrofit. It auto-completed the 2 because I just typed it, but we don't want the 2. Another : 2.9.0. I'm going to backspace this one. I accidentally tabbed, went over a space. Implementation.com or com.squareup. OK HTTP3 : OK HTTP3. Get rid of the 3. And : 4.9.3. And we'll sync it. Gradle sync finished in just under 7 seconds. Doesn't look like there's any problems. Okay, let's get this project window open. And we are going to right-click on COM and go New Package. And I'm going to put API at the end of the string that I see right here. I'm just going to keep that and put API and hit enter. And I see just API. I'm going to right-click on API, and I am going to go New Kotlin class file, and I am going to put Flickr, and that has no E in ER, Flickr, F-L-I-C-K-R, and then capital A, lowercase p-I. Flickr API. It is an interface, so I'll select that. I could just go class and then type in interface, and it should change on the fly, but I'm going to go ahead and put interface. And then we are going to put in our @get. and in parentheses, in quotes, a /. We're going to have to import this get. And yep, that's the import I was looking for. And then we are going to put in our suspend function, and we're calling it fetch contents for now. Later it'll be fetch photos, but that's not for a while. Fetch contents and pren and return type string. Okay, that's it. We don't have anything to run in this video, and that's as far as I wanted to get with that. In video 3, in the next video, we are going to go over into our main class, our fragment, and we are going to make an instance of Flickr API. I'll see you in video 3.